Boom. Fired up on a Thursday, Lisa.
It's Tuesday.
It is?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay. Listen, I believe you at this point.
I almost gotcha.
It is the year 2022 still, I think, where the road to FEDDCon continues. We're fired up here live with you from New Jersey. We have another special one ahead of us here, and we don't like to delay. We like to get right into it. We don't want to leave the people waiting. So without further ado, welcome the president of Sam Service down in Georgia, Mr. Nick Cribb.
Richie, what's up, baby?
What's going on down there?
Man, just another beautiful day in South Georgia. Appreciate getting to spend some time with you up in Jersey today, bro.
Yes, sir. I appreciate the time. I know you are super busy. Definitely want to talk about some of the projects and things you have going on. But of course, this is the road to FEDDCon, and we have to, bring our opening keynote speaker on a live to get the people excited. It's crunch time. So, but before we do that, just a quick, just for the 6 people out there who probably don't know you, just give them a little rundown on who Nick Cribb is.
So Nick Cribb, president of Sam Service, vice president, elected vice president of the board of directors for CFESA. Very proud of that. A grateful believer in this industry and everything that Richie's doing and all the value add that we have out there for people coming out. Millennials and younger looking to enter into the workforce and make some good money, make an impact. And if you make it to FEDDCon, you get the whole download of who is Nick Cribb and how it is I found myself on the screen with Richie right now. So get that ticket if you hadn't done it yet.
Yeah, I like that. So yeah, we're going to talk about a few different things. I'll save some of the FEDDCon talk for later, but coming out of the gate, just to kind of let the audience get to know you a little bit better, even myself. Going back to let's go back to like the early days, young Nick. How did you even find your way into the industry?
So I found my way into the industry coming out of a rough patch in my life. And I had a buddy of mine that I'd met through my church that owned a company called Sam Service. They were hiring for a dispatcher. And I was just looking for a safe place to work, looking for a good environment to be a part of, just was kind of hitting the reset button on my life in general at that time. And come to find out they had opened Sam Service because they couldn't get any quality. He's a serial entrepreneur, the CEO of Sam Service and the majority owner. They couldn't find any good service from restaurants that he owned. And he was like, man, I'm so damn tired of trying to find somebody I can trust. And it's not going to try to upsell me or give me crappy work and not stand behind their word. He's like, I'm just going to start my own company. So that's kind of how Sam Service started. Was just, the American dream. Competition makes everybody better. If you can't do it enough, start your own business and be the best. And that's kind of how I entered into it. And when I came along, Sam Service, it was probably 5 or 6 employees. And from there, the rest is history.
And so, and how many guys are you running now? How many techs you have?
So we are probably at about 25 techs today, almost 50 total employees across the board, and just sent a couple offer letters this morning. So hopefully we'll have some more by the time Friday rolls around.
That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing to see the growth. And that's the beauty of the industry. And that's why we talk about it so much, because there's so much growth opportunity. And I'm curious too, I don't know if this is a stupid question or not, but Sam Service, where does Sam come from? What is that? What is Sam?
So SAM is an acronym that stands for Scott, Allagood, and Moorhead. Those are the three last names of the 4 people that started Sam Service. Kurt Scott being the S, who's the gentleman I just told you about, our CEO, our visionary, if you will. And then you got Alan Allagood, who worked for Hobart for probably 20, 25 years. He's our we call him internally our hard drive. He's the genius. He's the one. He's like Lisa, man. He's the one behind the scenes that really makes shit go down, kind of like she's doing for you. And then you got the Moorheads, who is Bill and John Moorhead. Who John Moorhead, as Kurt says, they went to the University of Georgia together. When he got out, he started a law firm, and him and his dad run like a white collar law firm for businesses and stuff like that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. That's interesting. So, talking a little bit more about Sam Service, because we're considered small businesses still. I've considered a small business. We have 23 guys now, and as we're growing and stuff like that, the core values I know are always something that were important to Sam. I know you've talked about them many times. for people that are watching and people that are saying, looking at the companies that they're with, maybe the companies they're thinking about, maybe they're thinking about going into their own business, whatever it might be. Talk a little bit about, because I know you're passionate about these, the core values. Talk a little bit about the core values, what they are and what they mean to Sam Service.
So our core values aren't for everybody, right? They're for us. They're what we view as winning. And that doesn't mean that you're a loser if you don't fit them. It just means that you're just not supposed to be here, and that's okay. It's just like any sports team or any other business. They've got certain elements of what they feel like they should hire for, or they should fire if you don't meet. So we hire and fire by our core values. And the way that I've best heard it described is from one of our partners that owns Sam John Moorhead. And he says that if you walk into a museum, like me and you walk into a museum, Richie, and you walk up to a Monet, and you're like, man, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. And I look at it and I go, I could go with it or without it. It's not really my jam. But man, when I look at that Picasso, man, that Picasso just speaks to me. And it's just beautiful in a way that I can't explain and I can't understand. That should be what your core values do for attracting talent into your organization. And if people come in and they don't like the Picasso that you've got, that's okay. You need to free up their future so they can go find their Monet. And we're very, very, very serious about our core values here. We do hire and fire by them. And I can rattle them off real quick just for the sake of time. It's number one core values. We execute quality work. You can execute quality work if you're in the office on the phones, and obviously you can do it in the field with wrenches and gauges. We earn trust through clear and candid communication. My favorite core value. It's called keeping it real in another way. It's, real recognize real. And if you tell somebody the truth, you can earn their trust. Richie, I've told you this before. We've been at a random bar in some amazing American city, I'm sure. But if you came up to me and you were like, listen, Nick, I love hanging out with you, but every time I come around you, your breath's kicking, I would immediately trust you more, because that's a value of mine that I appreciate. And I'm going to take care of that problem. I'm going to be better, which leads to the next core value, which is we're always learning, growing, and innovating. We take that straight talk, we receive it like we should, and we make changes or we make innovations to be the best that we can be. Our next one is we know our limitations. We know what we're not good at, man. Like, it's a really good value to have in your life, to like be okay with not being all things to all people. One of my favorite quotes is Abraham Lincoln says, you can please all the people some of the time, or some of the people all of the time, but you can never please all of the people all of the time. And that's a mouthful, but it's really the truth. I mean, you got to be okay with not everybody not being happy with you. And our fifth core value, our last one, is we are joyful in our work. Man, the reality is I spend more time with these people at Sam's Service than I do with my own family. And I'm okay with that, because there's a lot of joy that comes from it. And there's a lot of fulfillment and opportunity I can carry home to my family from the energy and the ability to earn that comes from Sam's Service. So why in the heck wouldn't I want to enjoy it? And joy is different than happy. Happiness is fading and it's quickly gone, but man, I can have joy even when I'm having a bad day if I believe in something. So that's who we are.
And those are so great, and you can see how passionate you are, and the people that are watching can feel that. And I always feel that from you. And one of the reasons why I really wanted you to come down to FEDDCon, because I want to inspire people. I want people to understand the caliber of people that are in this industry. So I appreciate that. And we look at guys like you, and you're doing it right, and you're finding success, and that's contagious. When you hang around guys like you, it could be contagious. And I want to maybe share some things with the audience on routines, because I know routines are a very important part of success. So maybe if you have like morning routines or daily routines or things that you do, maybe you want to share some of those.
Yeah. So for me, I am a routine driven person. If I can find a rhythm, I feel like I do really, really well in a rhythm. After I've got 3 kids, I've got a 13-year-old Bailey. I've got a 4-year-old little Miss Benny, who is Nick Cribb 2.0. World, watch out, she's coming. And I got little Mr. Eason, he's 2. And whenever we stack those last 2 kids up, I put on a lot of weight. And because I was pregnant with my wife for 3 years, and I created this routine with the way that I eat. I said I want to be the healthiest version of myself. I want to be around for these kids, so I started doing this intermittent fasting thing, which turned into something that I've held on to for a while, and it's given me a lot of discipline. And it's been a really good routine for the way that my brain works. My brain knows when it gets protein and when it gets fat that it needs, so I can make decisions cognitively and I can get energy from that. And it also knows when it just needs to fight and it needs to wait because it knows it's not coming for a while. And I feel like it sparked something in me that's a good routine just for me. And I'm not no health advocate. I'm not telling you to do what I do. I'm
Yeah.
just telling you it's what works for me. And
Yeah.
another routine that we have here at Sam that keeps us on track at the highest level. We have a leadership team meeting every week, and that's every Wednesday from 6:30 to 8. No matter what, we have got to bat 80% on that throughout the year, and that rhythm of staying on top of those issues and what are the biggest things in our organization that we're pushing forward. Are we on track or are we off track? Is there any people problems? Are there any process problems? We know that come Wednesday morning, man, we're buckling that chin strap and we're going to hit each other in the face as hard as we can, and that rhythm provides a lot of results. Provides a lot of results for us.
Yeah, no, I love that. I don't know, Lisa, do you have a comment?
We have a question that came
Oh,
in here.
we got a question that came in. Let's just check it out.
Relevant, so I don't want to lose it.
Yeah.
Have those values always been there, or did you implement those on your own? I love them.
Yeah, no. So about 7 years ago, at an annual session, me and the partners got together, and we came up with all of those on our own. And it probably took us about 6 hours to do it. And honestly, we kind of wrote down some to-dos from that, met back up again a couple of days later, and that's where we finally nailed them down and fleshed them out. There have been two changes that we've made over the years. We changed, number one, we execute quality work. We recently went into we safely execute quality work, because we really want to add safety as a key part of what we do, because as you know, this can be a very dangerous job.
Yes.
And another one was we are always learning and growing. We actually, right after the pandemic, we changed it to always learning, growing, and innovating, because, I mean, if you ain't figuring something new out, then you're going to get passed by.
Yes. I love that. I love it. Yeah. It's one of those ever evolving industries that we're in. I mean, we're seeing so much change right now. I just jumped off a podcast with Blue Collar Nation. I think that's going to be going live later tonight, he said. And we were talking about,
shout out Josh Zolan.
Yeah, that's it. So we were talking about like some of the changes in the industry, and I was, he's not necessarily from our trade directly, but he was in water treatment and stuff like that out west, and he was seeing a lot of M&A and a lot of stuff before he sold a few years ago. And so he kind of positioned the question to me is, he calls us like smaller businesses, ones that are not, those big conglomerates at this point. He calls them boutique businesses, and he says, so as someone in that industry right now, with your size and what you're doing, what advantages do you see as a company in the, with all the changes happening? I don't know if that's a question that we could hit you with. Smaller business, 25 techs, growing, 50 employees, you're starting to get to that next level. But from this standpoint, I mean, what advantages, maybe even disadvantages, I don't know. What are you seeing from all the stuff going on in the industry?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest advantages is the people that I report to are very open-minded, and they care about people like I do. So they're willing to step outside of the normal thinking and to do things that are counterintuitive and countercultural to treat people right. There doesn't have to be a precedent set. There doesn't have to be, well, what are the shareholders going to say about this? I said, what's the right thing to do to treat people right? And that's an advantage that I think that we have with our little boutique businesses, if you will, is that we can be, intimate to the people in our little circles. And oftentimes when we're able to step forward in those things, I find them more fulfilling than any bonus check I've ever cashed. Recently, just this week, we had a team member who needed some help, and we met him where he was at, and we got him the help that he needs. And I'm looking forward to a freaking badass story to tell here, and in a couple months, and we're going to stand beside that person. So, another advantage is we know our clientele really, really well in Georgia. I got to imagine those big conglomerates, they don't talk the way that I do. They don't know the people that I know, and they don't know the things that'll get you fired and the things that'll keep you with them for forever. And I feel like that's an advantage. And as we scale out and go to market, we're wanting market operators who can have that same influence and authority in their markets to speak the language that needs to be heard there as well.
Yeah, no, and I think I was kind of touching on the same exact things. And, I said doing for us, I said doing the little things really well. And like you said, knowing the people, know the clientele, having those relationships that are so close and tight. I mean, that's powerful, and the power of digital and the stuff that we're going to be talking about, in another week or two down in Arizona is, you could really double down on those relationships when you're not there. You could reach out to them, staying in touch with people and connecting with people. And that's been super huge for us here as we've been growing. And yeah, I mean, but again, doing the little things really well, the communication aspect of it. I speak to different manufacturers and different, it's like the bigger the company, the harder it is to get somebody that actually can answer questions and get things done. I'm sure people can pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Nick," and in 2 seconds you can move a mountain. You can start making things happen.
Right.
Answers. The speed of it all, urgency for us. We're in an urgent business. I mean, urgency is powerful too. So, yeah, it's an interesting time to be navigating our industry for sure. I think.
I wouldn't rather spend my time anywhere else.
No, me either. Me either. So. Let's see. Let's throw a couple of fun questions at you. The best trip you've ever taken.
Oh man, this is probably the best trip that I've ever taken would probably be beach trip with the family, like the most recent one where we had all the kids down there. Just because my heart wouldn't allow me to say any different. But coming in a close second would be Costa Rica over there with Big Dan Deibler and Glenn Clark, and my first ever board of directors trip. Found myself deep sea fishing, and I tell you what, I didn't know what I had got myself into until I saw that mahi pop out of the top of the water, and I was like, "What in the heck do y'all got on this line?" They catch this thing, drag it in the back of the boat, chop its head off, cut it up. We go eat it fresh in Costa Rica. Man, I'm telling you, just epic adventure.
That's an ugly fish though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got like an old box square head. I mean, the colors on it are beautiful. The colors are beautiful, but I'll tell you what, it ate good. I ate it about 4 different ways. It was a ton of meat, and it was fantastic.
That's probably my favorite fish to eat. I love a blackened grilled mahi. I love it.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So listen, I wanted to talk too about FEDDCon training. So I saw you putting some content out. Is it the middle management?
That's correct.
Middle management. So, I think I know I've been to one back in the day when Bruce Hodge was doing one. That was a great one. A shout out to Bruce Hodge. And so now you're out at FEDDCon headquarters and you're doing some middle management training. Let's talk about some of the things that you're going to be going over and who should really go to that class. Should I send my service manager? Should I send who's the best prospect?
Yeah, cool. So a little plug here real quick. Definitely shout out to Bruce Hodge. I attended that one as well, Richie, and gleaned a lot of little nuggets that I still use today.
Yes.
Actually, Steve Snower, that is the CEO of Partstown, actually runs the existing one. So any principals of a company or high-level executives that would like to attend, he can give you a really good download. That's usually about 2 or 3 weeks before I do mine. But in regards to middle management training, it's anybody who's kind of getting pulled into a leadership position within our company for the first time. Now that could be a service manager, that could be an account manager, that could be a branch manager. There's a lot of different flavors to it, right? There's a lot of different ways that it can look. But basically, I'm just trying to teach the basic fundamentals and the basic elements that I've learned. A lot of this information was provided to me by FEDDCon, so I'm just kind of regurgitating a lot of things that they already had on staff. Mm-hmm. But a lot of them is just little nuggets that I picked up from Bruce Hodge or along the way building Sam Service over the past 9 years, and just saying, hey, don't get tied up in the word manager or middle manager. In my opinion, management is leadership, and leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. That's a quote from John Maxwell. You are being placed in a position of authority and influence to tell people, hey, this is what winning looks like, this is where we're going, and this is how we're going to get there. You gonna follow me? And if you want them to answer that question, yes, you gotta have your pencil sharpened on all these things that I like to pour out. A couple of those things are just a fundamental introduction to management and managing people and what teams look like, interviewing processes and procedures, things that can get you in a lot of trouble, and things that maybe another spin on it to still get the answers that you want in a more modified way. The importance of team building and motivation in general, always to stay motivated yourself and motivate other people. Yeah, it's a really cool class. And, the thing that I appreciate the most about it is when people get open and honest and vulnerable, and they say, well, yeah, I got this guy named John, and John he'll never listen to me. And I'm like, hell yeah, tell me about John. So what does John do? And they go, well, John, he's a parts guy. I'm like, all right, cool. How long's John been there? And I just dig on in. And the more they give me, the more I can kind of walk through what dealing with that is fearlessly and courageously, like a good leader should, but also with grace and with class, like a businessman or woman should, to ultimately get to a solution or resolution. And most of the time, I feel like people can walk out with a pretty good approach on how to deal with the Johns in their company. And that makes me feel really good. It's a fulfilling position to do every year.
Yeah, man, this is super important. And, it's interesting because we're going through so many changes here, and we're trying to implement some new SOPs, and we have a lot of things that we're at a place we've never been before. And, we know we have to start operating a little more professional. It's not to say that we weren't professional before, but we're not firing off on the cylinders I know we're going to need to go from here to here, because we're right on the cliff right now. And, I think there's a couple of people in this building that probably are going to benefit from that. So we're probably going to send somebody, 1 or 2 people this year.
Perfect.
We got to look at the schedule, but we can go to FEDDCon, right? Everyone watching, and
simple,
check out.
You got it. Yep.
And I see some things coming in, Lisa. I don't want to lose
So
questions or
Taz
comments.
says, middle manager is a leader above the team and below the directors, the tactical drivers and strategic owners of the execution portion of the business's strategic vision.
Words.
Damn, Taz, maybe you need to be teaching this thing, bro. I'll get out the way. I'll get out the way, man. Greater good, I'll move.
Lisa, screenshot that. I got to reread that so I can comprehend it later.
No, he's exactly right, though. It's a very important position within organizations. It truly is.
So we've got a question for you too, Nick.
All right.
So Jason asks, book, podcast, or speaker that had the most impact on you or the business?
Golly, that is a great question. Jim Collins is the first one that comes to mind, which is a book called Good to Great, which through that we figured out that we were probably being a genius with 1,000 helpers, which is one of the things that he says you can be successful with, but you can't scale. Probably in regards to our culture and my leadership style, Simon Sinek has really just changed my way of viewing leadership within a company. And I mean, he's changed my heart in some regards. Like my whole approach is different in situations than it was before hearing, many of his different seminars that he's put on, and also reading his book, Leaders Eat Last. So it's a good book.
Okay. Yeah. I love Simon Sinek. I try to catch as much stuff that he puts out a good amount of content. So anyone out there, definitely check out Simon Sinek. It'll be very worth it. What else you got there?
Taz says that was an epic question. Write that down. Forget what I said.
Oh man. So what else? What else we got? So let's talk a little bit of FEDDCon. You're coming down graciously to Arizona, out graciously. You're kicking this event off for us on April 26th. And what are a couple of things that we might expect? Now, this is what's the title of this is Keeping It Real?
Why keeping it real always goes right.
Right. Yeah.
And it's friggin' true. Give us a little look into what might be on stage there with you.
Yeah, man. So one of the things that's come to mind is just, my belief system also pulls me into other circles where I'm asked to give what's called a testimony, just of how I come to know my faith and who it made me. And there's a portion of that I'll share with you. It won't be religious at all, I can assure you that, but it will speak to the truth of who I once was and who I am now and the victory I'm allowed to walk in. And it's an encouraging, compelling story. I mean, it doesn't make any sense for me to be on this call right now. It doesn't make any sense for me to be the president of a company or the vice president of an association board. Like on paper, you write this stuff down, it doesn't make sense. But I never quit. I never gave up. And I always fight to be a winner and fight to be my best. And even when I was a loser, I decided to fight to not be that anymore. And I'm going to speak to that and just tell you my true story of how it is that I got to where I am. And then I'm going to tell you some of the principles that I've learned through that I've implemented from coming out of who I was to who I am now, that honestly just continues to propel me and gives me favor in many different platforms. And also just, man, I have a lot of authority within Sam's service, but man, like I just said, I got a lot of influence, man. I got people who want to know what I got to say because they trust me. And they trust me because I care about them. You know what I mean? And when I'm in some circles, the Sefesa group, I'm with guys that are a lot like Dan Deibler is probably like 75 IQ points smarter than me. And I'm completely okay with that, because I know there's things that I can be honest with him about that he might be missing. And I'm man enough for when I got holes in my game to hear from him, and he can earn my trust, and I'll implement change too. It really is another part of what I'm going to be talking about is empathy, which is a Simon Sinek thing, but it's also a principle thing too, is meeting people where they're at. Like, don't forget that sometimes people do really dumb stuff within your organizations. And it has nothing to do with them not hitting their metrics. It has everything to do with the fact that they hadn't seen their kid in 6 weeks because they got this horrible divorce going on, or they've got a dependency of some sort that they can't seem to shake themselves from. That they're just sad because their dad died 2 years ago and they don't have anybody to talk to about it. Sometimes you just meet people where the heck they're at. You can help pull them out of that dark place, pull them into the light so that they can become the best version of themselves. And that ain't got nothing to do with a damn spreadsheet.
Man, and that's why I really wanted you to be there, because this is, when you look at what the Fed Group is and what the community that we've been building over the last several years, it's about people, and we're in an industry where we fix food equipment, we fix refrigerators and freezers and ice machines. We do all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's all the stuff that you just said. And, to put someone like you that is real, that has a real story, and is finding success in this industry, to put you on center stage and get this content out there and let people see it. It's powerful, because, we know what opportunities lie here, but the kid sitting in a classroom right now doesn't. He might not even have a clue what's going on here. And if we keep talking about it and we keep pumping out these videos and we keep sharing it, it's going to get to those kids. It's going to get to the person that might be 40 and sitting there saying, I'm looking for a career change. There's so much for anyone, whether you're 17 or you're 45. I mean, there's no age limit here. So
no, I agree.
I think that's what this industry is about. It's always been about people. And this is going to be a good one. We got something there.
Elrod, man, that is my guy.
Tony says, Mr. Cribb is such an amazing young leader. He is so real.
Yeah, man. Tony Elrod, one of my best friends on this planet. He works for Zaxby's corporate out of Athens, Georgia. Their fried chicken. If you ain't never had it, it's the best in the game.
Oh man, I love fried chicken. We don't have any good fried chicken up here, do we, Lisa?
No.
we have KFC and Popeyes. I'm not hating on them, but we need some good fried chicken. I heard Bojangles is coming here though.
Yeah,
I've never had it. I've never had it.
Bojangles isn't bad.
Nice. So, all right. So listen, is there anything you want to talk about before we head off? Anything on your heart, on your mind? Anything you want to let people know about?
Yeah, no, I'll just tell you this. I'll give you a ramp up. So I got Easter Sunday coming up. So it's a big day for me and my family. We're going to have a lot of friends and family over at the house. Hopefully we'll get to eat chicken. Maybe it won't just be ham, because I'm a big chicken guy. But we're going to all be hanging out. Then I'm going to get some rest, jump on a plane Monday morning, head to teach this CFEDDCon middle management class. I'll be sliding in sideways late on Friday, spending as much time as I can with my family for a couple of days, jumping back on a jet to come see Richie over there in Arizona. Give you guys a quick download. Then I got to get back to Sam's service, because I imagine they'll be needing my services with my stacked up absences. So just to give you a picture of what that looks like, I would love to stay for the conference, but I did want to explain why I've got to pop right back out. But I committed to Richie before I committed to the CFEDDCon middle management. And I'm a man of my word, so I'm gonna do what I said I was gonna do, and I'll see you there. And I'm looking forward to it, brother.
Man, I appreciate. Believe me, I appreciate it, Lisa.
Yeah,
everyone coming is gonna appreciate it. It means a lot to us, so we appreciate that. Happy Easter to you and your family, man.
Yeah, bro, you too, man.
Yeah, we celebrated Easter last week because my family's going on a little trip. They're going down to Disney actually, so they're not gonna be around.
Oh, sweet, cool.
Yeah. So, but we did Palm Sunday. We went to church. I haven't been to church since Christmas Eve. Not to get over religious, but I got to tell you, it's one of those things. It's a feel good thing. So and that's important too. I think with finding success, finding whether it's a spiritual thing or meditation thing,
absolutely. Truth and love, man. We all need truth and love in our life.
Yeah, it's important. It's important. It keeps us grounded. All right, Nick, I appreciate you, brother. We're gonna go check out samserviceinc.com. I think
you got it. Yep.
All right. We're going to go to CFEDDCon. We're going to go check out CFEDDCon training. We got middle management, upper management. We have technician training. I actually just had one of our younger guys just get back from the NTT training. Young kid, 19. Were you down there for that?
I wasn't, but we sent
Oh,
one
okay.
of our technicians, Bailey Kitchings. He was there, and good report. So Dan Reese is a freaking
Yeah.
stud. The dude's a genius. He knows how to talk to people.
Yeah, Devin, our guy Devin came back and he was like, Dan was amazing and great class. So the kid's 19 years old, already out on his own in his little van, working on assisting techs and doing some jobs. And it's been cool to watch him in 6 months only. I mean, he's really doing a great job. So it's prime opportunity for the people that want to work and want to learn out there. We'll take it down, Nick. I appreciate you, brother. I will see you on the 26th.
Yes, you will, my friend. God bless, bro.
God bless you back. God bless everybody out there. Stay fired up. Make the rest of the day count. See you on the next one.